Alright, holy fuck. Oh, what are we going to talk about today? Well, yesterday I didn't get into the sigil magic part, so I got to do that. There's a couple other parts that I didn't get into, and I'm drawing a blank on right now. Before I talk about the sigil magic part of how this limbic system and this trigger mechanism, whenever you are in too much either fear or too much positive emotion, and it causes your brain to go back 1 second and capture everything you are using your five senses, basically, is what I was trying to say yesterday. I couldn't say it right. Maybe I was still all worked up about fucking deadbeat fucking father of my stepchildren. But anyways, your brain goes back 1 second and takes a picture of everything that's around you, and it takes don't ask me how, but it takes also a picture, but it'd be like a smelling picture, a picture that records the smell, a picture that records the sound. See, we can record audio and visual, but we can't necessarily, maybe with virtual reality right now, but virtual reality, I don't think you can touch and smell and feel. But, technically your brain can do those things. It can record what something feels like. It can record what something tastes like. It can record what something feels, tastes, smells like. Those are the other three besides the hearing and the sound, I think, anyways. I remember it's because I was learning about the neocortex. The neocortex is that part of the brain. Now, the thing I wanted to speak about, but the Alan Watts I'm still working on, because man, it's gonna be a big blowout. And I know I do this often and say I'm making this big episode, then I never release it, and it's just because it's just too much. To be honest with you, the COVID thing was a great episode. How to protect yourself is how I was playing it in, but then I was trying to figure out how to ultimately protect yourself from COVID, and then it comes to find out that there's nothing to fucking worry about. Like, everybody has a mechanism around them, and if you guys are watching me, then you're witches and magical practitioners. Maybe I got the odd truther who isn't into magic yet, but if you're not into magic, you're not really going to be drawn to my stuff, because my stuff's not great to start with. Good information from time to time, but it's not great. So I gotta stop being self-defecating, but someone who doesn't like what I like, or who doesn't do what I do, is not going to really watch my stuff. So if you guys are watching my stuff, then you are, doing some kind of magical training. Therefore, your aura, your a magnetic field that your heart creates around your body, you should be getting that stronger. You should be reducing your karma. You should be stop saying self-curses, which is negative self-talk, basically. And this way, you're not going to allow anything through there. So you really have nothing to worry about. So I didn't want to overcomplicate it, for one, by giving you a bunch of information that can make you overthink things. Two, I didn't want to add any more awareness and give any more focused attention to COVID than it needed. So I was trying to stop all things, unless something that really was pissing me off I had to talk about. For the most part, I just kind of stopped. From time to time, I'll tell you how stupid things are about COVID, but, anyways. Which reminds me about today, because now in my hometown, Cornwall, Ontario, Canada, the health unit, or health fucking whatever they are, the people that are making these laws for fucking COVID, which, if you don't want to wear a mask, do your research and go look to see if they passed the bill in the House of Commons yet, and if there's any kind of charge, if it's being enforced by your MP, your mayor. Make sure, most of the time the mayor's on board with it. It's at the municipal level here in Canada for them to decide. So if you're in this country where you have a population of like probably 1,000 or less, there's probably no issue. But I think if you're over 20,000, then they're implementing masks. And now that probably depends on how big your town is. If you got a big fucking space, a town, a city the size of Toronto, but you only have 40,000 people, then you're not gonna be close enough to do anything. But if your town is small, then you say you got 1,000 people, but you're like a fucking, I don't know, a little shit fucking town that's basically like maybe 10 blocks squared, or any regular town, that's your whole town. Well, then, they're probably going to make you do it because you guys are so condensed. But right now, it's in effect. Everybody has to wear a mask wherever they're going. Now, at the moment, it's only been like the second or third day they've implemented it. I believe it's been since Monday, maybe Sunday. And so if you don't have one, especially if you're going somewhere to buy shit, obviously they're going to have masks on hand for people. They might run out, they might not have enough, they might not want to dip into the stock that they're selling. But if it means kicking out a customer who's going to buy a bunch of groceries because they don't have one mask, well, regardless if everywhere else is making people wear masks, they are going to leave that business pissed off. I'm not buying anything from here. I'll put a mask on and go to Walmart. Fuck this store, you know? Or I'll put a mask on and I'll go to fucking wherever. Fucking No Frills, Food Basics, Independent, fucking Canadian Tire, you know? Who knows? But I know that's probably the case. They're probably going to give you masks. But if you're going somewhere that's not taking enough money from you, or a non-profit or something like that, then if you don't got a mask, you're going to get the boot. They'll probably have some leeway for a few days in case not everybody knows about it. Like right now, there's a gentleman at the front door. He's probably into YouTube and shit like that. So he probably doesn't believe in the whole mask thing. And, you know, I think I'm right. He's on the phone talking to somebody. He's young enough, so... but yeah, he's got no fucking mask on, and he doesn't even have pockets on his pants because he's got the fucking jogging pants with no pocket. Oh, well, he's putting his phone in something, so maybe he does have one in his pocket. And he feels real uncomfortable right now because he's like, fuck, they're gonna make me put on a mask, and I got no fucking mask. I'm saying everywhere it's the law. Shit. He's got a toque on and some nice sandals, and he's got this swagger walk, and anyways, he's probably somebody I'd get along with too. But anyways, so. It's bullshit. I fucking hate it. I had to wear a mask today. Fuck, man. I wore it at the hospital. But the hospital's the hospital. Once again, that's what I'm talking about. Non-profit, right? I mean, yeah, our taxes go to the hospital and all that. So technically, we do pay for it. But, and the nurses will be like, you want to get fucking served, bud? Put a fucking mask on, or else, you know, you're at their whims there. It's not like you're going in there giving them money like a fucking store. At a store, technically, the reason the customer is always right is because you're the one paying for the party. You're the one giving them the money to make this shit run. So, yeah, okay, they might not need you as in one person's money, but they need you as in all person's money. Therefore, if one person makes a big enough stink, has a big enough fan base, can give them bad publicity, well then, yeah, I could fuck them right up. You know, so this is why they give you more leeway. But a hospital, like, no, people are coming here no matter what. People need, especially in my town, we have one hospital. Even if you hate the motherfuckers, if you have an emergency, that's where you gotta go. And you don't want to bite the hand that fucking fixes your broken hand. So, all that to say is, that's when I wear my mask. I wear my mask whenever. I don't want to go out, which isn't fair to my wife that I'm just going to boycott all places because I don't want to wear a mask. That's not really putting up a protest. That's just bitching out. So, you know, fuck, man, I hate this shit. I really think it's stupid. It feels so unnatural wearing a mask. It's not right. And I understand why people got personalized masks now, because the fucking ones they give you, the free ones, the fucking surgical dumb shit ones, they're just so fucking blue and weird looking and like, it's terrible. Everybody covering up their fucking face, like, it's stupid. You know, and I was just starting to think that maybe they are doing this for the greater good. Maybe they really do believe there's a fucking pandemic because of these other places. I don't think it ever got over here, man. I really don't. But anyways, enough about that. And I know that's polarizing, and I know people are not going to watch me just because I'm against it. I don't give a shit, you know. That's what people who have channels that are trying to get fans, don't ever cover your shit up. Ralph Smart, you know, I love the guy. He's awesome. And his last video was like the art of not giving a damn, and it was fucking awesome. It was fucking awesome. One of his best ones yet, to me, anyways. And like his last few have all been inspiring. And you know, the one before this one was really good for anybody who isn't making any money online yet in some way, shape, or form. Like I've said before, I've got a couple small little revenue streams. My podcast giving me small revenue, even though now I'm not even making any original episodes. I'm still making episodes, but they're the same things that I'm putting on here, just 2 or 3 videos in one. And that's just for the people who listen to my podcast who don't watch my YouTube. But I got a couple more things going on from e-commerce, a store, and a few other things that make me, like I said, fucking $20 a day. At the end of the week, you know, it's about $100 fucking bucks every week, and that's without even trying, updating, doing much. So he gives a lot of good tips and ideas of different ways if you didn't know how to make money online. So not, if he comes out with a video today, obviously not today's video, not yesterday's video, but Monday's video was really fucking informative and good for anybody trying to make money online, trying to know how do you make money online, what do you do, you know? And his was more generated towards people with content, but there's also ways on there without having content that you can do. And yeah, it's great. I've talked about, I think, most of those ways in some way, shape, or form, and never all in one video like him. So, but nonetheless, back to residuals and the mind. So yesterday I went through neocortex. Neocortex. Whenever you are experiencing too much negative emotion, this is when it mostly happens, because and not mostly, as in, it doesn't happen as often with positive emotion. It does. No, not really. It happens more with negative emotion, because most people experience negative emotion more often than positive emotion, especially in our days, with the media constantly telling you, not so much anymore, I mean, not where I am, because no one's dying, no one has died where I live, not a single fucking person, but yeah, we got like 300,000 fucking cases of it, and no one died from it, that's good odds. Fuck, that tells me that horse shit. But anyways, so yeah, things like that. When the media is bombarding you with fucking fear-based media 24/7, to the point where you're scared to go outside, where everybody's got a fucking mask when they go out. And I said that before, the mask is the symbolism part of magic, meaning when you do magic, it's the robes, the candles, the fucking wands, the athames, everything in ritual magic that's different from your everyday life is there to make it stand out, to impress on your subconscious mind, to show your subconscious mind that you are doing something out of the ordinary, and this way it gets through to your subconscious mind so that you can implant a suggestion into your subconscious mind and it can play out in your reality. So you wear a robe or you go naked, that's like, whoa, why the fuck is he naked, and that's why that's maybe why the robe might work better than naked. And I've never talked about that, but ceremonial magicians wear a robe, white robe to start. Clip-off magicians start with a black. Well, they wear all black. You can have a black robe if you want, but it's all black. And that would be arguably probably the starting point. Had I known that, I'd be doing that first, but I was too polarized to look at the clip-off, so. But I never did that. Being a witch, I always went in my birthday suit. Well, not at first because it was in my garage, but actually, I've stripped down in my garage a few times and fucking did magic and did my ritual, in the nude. I had to block the windows and all that, but locked the fucking doors, and no one just, hey, babe, what are you doing? What the fuck are you naked? Are your candles going? Are you masturbating in the garage? Like, get the fuck out, babe. Like, talk about fucking it all up and creating a fucking negative thought form. But anyways, and that's the thing. If you're doing ritual magic and you're thinking about your magic not working, I played this the other day from the book Summoning Spirits. That's why it's in my head. But if you're doing a ritual and in your head you're thinking at the same time, oh, this is not going to fucking work. There's no way this is going to fucking work. Well, because you are drawing down energy from the astral, especially if you've already done your middle pillar, okay, and you purified the space for no other thought forms to be there, so there's nothing. I mean, you got the archangels there. Maybe they'll save your ass if you already call them into being, but no, they're there to put so nothing attacks you personally. But if you're creating something, that's kind of what they're expecting. So if you're gonna think a negative thought, that's your negative emotion, that's the thing that's gonna fucking give it life. You just took down astral energy into you, and you put that energy into the thoughts that you're creating right there, and the will is you doing the ritual. So if at the same time as you're doing a ritual to get money and you think, oh, this is never going to work, then you can create a thought form called this is never going to work, and his job is going to be to stop your fucking magic. So anybody who's ever done that, do yourself a favor and do a ritual to kill off any of those, and it could be many if you've done this many times, any of those things that you have around you. so that your magic works, because I clearly don't have that, because mine are fucking working. I think I might have done the opposite. I think I might have made a thought form for my magic always works, because I've been to my ritual a few times saying like, fuck man, I don't even think I have to do this because it already happened. Like, I went to my ritual, I forget what it was for, but I went there the other day, like probably a month ago, and it was for something that I was thinking about. I went to a ritual, but you know, I didn't even get past the fucking Kabbalistic cross, and I got a knock on the door saying, hey babe, no worries, fucking this check just came in, or something like this just came in. I was like, holy fuck, I didn't have to do the ritual. But I was so overwhelmed with joy that the whole fucking ritual, I was like continuously thinking about, man, I don't even need to do ritual because my magic always works. So I probably created a thought form that it already works. That is called my magic always works, and his job is to make sure my magic always works. So, and these are things you can do. There's nothing that's bad. There's nothing that you can't do. When you're a magician, you can literally create a fucking thought form that makes your fucking thoughts manifest. Now, I was trying to, I was under the assumption that I did rituals to make sure my magic only manifests while I'm in a circle, whether it's a mental circle in my head at the couch sleeping, but I'm still at my altar, or it's literally standing in front of my altar. Those are the only times I can do it. Now, once I'm at my altar, I can visualize myself somewhere else, because that's sometimes useful. That which means if I want to do a nature fucking ritual, I can go outside and do nature ritual, but while I'm in nature, I got to see myself in front of my altar. And it's like the verification code when you're trying to get, because like technically going to your altar is your passcode to get into your Facebook, into your fucking your email, your Google, your YouTube account, right? But if anybody can access your phone, then they can get into your Google if everything's saved on there with just your password, and your password's also saved on there, right? So if you want extra protection, well, you get the thing that sends you a verification code, and when it sends you the verification code, you can verify it, and this way if someone else is trying to get onto your Google, then you know about it. Well, that's kind of like this is. So if I'm gone somewhere and someone goes to my altar and tries to manifest something, well, they won't be able to. It's my altar, first of all. But I just a metaphor, and the metaphor is, if I'm out somewhere, well, the second line of defense so that I don't manifest something by mistake somewhere else was that I have to visualize myself at my altar so I don't manifest something by accident. All right, but first of all, the one thing I was going to say about before I got into Ralph Smart was, what I got from his video was to not, if you're trying to get fans and then you don't want to say things because you're scared you're going to lose fans, don't. You might lose a subscriber now, here and there, but ultimately they're either going to come back or you'll get two more. If you're being real, you're being honest, even if, like, who knows, the shit I say might not be real, you know, might be what I think, so I'm going to speculate. Someone doesn't like it, they go somewhere else, that's fine. I am, however, worried about when I added Facebook, then it's more localized and people are trying to add me, they know me, because it's, hey, suggestion, you know this guy from Cornwall, Ontario? I can't get that out of there, or else it wants to let go of my account. So I am worried about that. And not for me, I don't give two fucks about my kids, not my wife. But ultimately, they all say they don't give a fuck, so I don't give a fuck. People don't like it in this day and age where everybody's wearing a fucking mask because they're scared of a virus, and they think ceremonial witchcraft is fucking weird. Well, I got news for them. They're fucking weird. They think wearing a mask in a store is okay, and listening to the news anchors is just okay going along with the media. Now, there's no way to know right now if all this, the news is bullshit shit we've been listening to up until coronavirus was just that, implanting the seed so that when this happens, there's enough of us that are against it, and it's just a way to start a revolution. But that being said, maybe it needs to be started, because there's a lot of things they fucking say. Like, because now some of the news anchors on mainstream TV are even saying COVID's bullshit. So one thing I do know is everybody wearing a mask in the summertime is going to make them twice as sick in the wintertime, twice as likely to die and let's say we have a fucking cold winter coming, let's say we have a fucking ice age coming, which, I used to say that was coming too, and anyways, I'm not going to get into that, but let's say we have a really bad winter and people are twice as vulnerable for wearing a fucking mask all the time and you're not breathing correctly all the rest of the time, then yeah, you're going to get twice as sick. So if you are wearing a mask because, well, Jesus, now you have to, then do yourself a favor and breathe through your nose only with that mask. Make sure it's loose enough that airflow can get in, and good airflow, and try to make sure you're use your nose. That's the best thing I can say. Don't want you fucking with the mask, put a hole in the mask or some shit until your air gets out. Although you could do that, tiny pin fucking holes where the mouth is that they can't see, that might give you a better airflow out. But in and out through your nose all the time. Go home, through your nose. Deep, long breaths. TED Talk, some fucking breath shit. 3 or 4 first videos should be the best ones. And if not, go down until you find one you like, but they'll explain how to do breathing exercises, why it's important, and you'll be able to put it together. They might even have some now, but wearing masks all the time, who knows? And if not, someone should make one. But if I could, I would, but I'm not any esteemed anything in my field. I don't have a field. My field is magic, and magic isn't a recognizable field, I guess, yet, but even then, if it was, I'm only 4 years into it, so I mean, I'm nowhere near a fucking OG or a fucking, a fucking truth or a fucking adept or anything. Anyways, but, so, that's what I'm trying to get at. Don't cover up your shit because you're scared to lose fans. You'll gain more fans. If you're saying something polarizing that makes you lose fans, first of all, that person who you lost is going to send you negative energy that you can use for anything. So that's always great. You might actually gain more fans if you're pissing people off, and that's energy you can use for anything. And on top of that, you'll gain more fans in the long run, especially on YouTube. But anywhere you're making videos or podcasts, you're going to get more people if you're pissing off the status quo than if you're going with the status quo. I love Frederick Xavier. I'll never turn on him, but whenever he starts talking about COVID being, everybody should just listen and stay home, and I know he's got a thing against germs, not as bad as like Howie Mandela, and that's his own example he's used, but he's got a thing against germs. So anytime there's a virus germ, he's going to be more polarized to say people are fucking stupid for going against the grain. And why would he even look at that whenever he's got this, childhood fucking fear that, or issue, let's say. And I don't blame them. Germs are a real thing, and germs are what make you sick, but technically you need germs to beat fucking germs as well. So, and in that line of thought, this is where the mask is a bad thing, because you're wearing a mask too much, you're not taking germs. There's no fucking way, shape, or form am I going to keep a mask on my kids, nor will I enforce them to wear a fucking mask anywhere. And if they take it off, they take it off and say, okay, you can try telling my kid to put the mask on, and if you step out of line, I'll punch you in the face. But if you can get them to wear the mask and keep it on, then by all means, give it a shot. But make sure you don't step over the line, because you're going to get a fucking fist to the face, because that's my fucking kids there, and I don't want to fucking tell them, because I know it's not good for you. But anyways, we have all this talk about doctors pushing pills because they're under contract to only push this pill. And most people know that. Most people will tell you that. Even people that are wearing masks today, and people that are not, people that are listening to the news avidly will tell you that they know that doctors are under contract with certain companies, and they get a kickback, and they know this. This is like general information, at least in my town it is. Most people tell you that. My mom will tell you that. People I meet at the store will tell me that. Everywhere, okay? And these same people will believe the doctors when they tell you to wear a mask, and they're not going to say anything sideways, even though there's other doctors out there who haven't signed a deal or get a kickback with a fucking face mask company to do so. But it's no different for them pushing one company or another, whether it's pills or fucking face masks and gloves. It doesn't matter. Someone's getting profit from that. So it's just advertising. You're paying doctors for advertising, and they can't go against it. And if they do, it's off the record and it's not usable on the media. And the ones that don't have a deal are the ones that are speaking out against it. simple as that. Because any doctor who doesn't have a deal with somebody to say wear a mask, who isn't young and who isn't so naive to know, will know that you're restricting your oxygen flow. It's as simple as that. You're inhaling your carbon dioxide, and that's not good. When you have too much carbon dioxide in your blood, it's very problematic. Absolutely. And you have these sensors in your body that whenever you have too much carbon dioxide in your body, among many other triggers and things that happen, but one of them is it activates the sympathetic nervous system, which activates you to breathe in such a way that will release cortisol throughout your body, which is a stress hormone. Because when you do that, it makes you breathe faster to intake more oxygen. It's not focusing on getting rid of the carbon dioxide. The reason for this is because you have to intake as much oxygen. You need just as much oxygen in to get rid of carbon dioxide. So if you have too much carbon dioxide in your levels, well, your body knows to start at the beginning, okay, we need to focus on getting rid of carbon dioxide. But if we start slow breathing, then he might fall asleep, because that's the one you go into breath. So let's intake as much oxygen as we can, so when it's time to deep breathe, we have so much oxygen in our body that we can release the carbon dioxide. So by getting you to intake more and more and more carbon dioxide, they are starting up your fight or flight response, basically, in a manner of speaking. And if you don't go home and do like I said, focus on deep breathing and get rid of all the carbon dioxide you intaked extra, because you're already getting some. I'm getting some right now. I'm getting carbon monoxide too from the smoke, but my levels are fucking great, and it's because I never wore a mask. But anyways, go home, focus on your breathing, get rid of all the carbon dioxide, do yourself a favor. So when winter time comes, if we do have a bad fucking winter, if this shit is like the Game of Thrones, which I don't think it is, but and these fuckers are coming to kill us, and it's going to be a cold ass fucking winter, well, you might want to be healthy for that shit and not be a fucking idiot. When fall comes, get your ass outside and breathe. When winter comes and you can stand it, get your ass out and start fucking breathing and get as many fucking germs in you as you can. Don't allow anything to get you sick. Don't allow any of the bullshit to get in your fucking head either, because that's the worst thing you can do, is tell people, say, if I get sick, I get sick, so be it. Really? No, I don't get sick. I never get fucking sick. Start saying that shit. That's a good affirmation to have. I never get sickness, illness, disease, infection, or viruses. I will be harm-free, so fucking mote it be. Thank you, gods and goddesses. Thank you, universe. Thank you, all that is, for never allowing me, for allowing me to be free from sickness, illness, disease, infection, and viruses. Use that bitch if you're really worried about this shit. Use it all the time. Use it every day. Use it every time you're out in public, over and over and over in your head if you're alone. If you're with somebody, put on one headphone in one ear and have it playing on a fucking thing. Just have it going in your head. This way when you're interacting with people and doing shit, I don't get sick from wearing a mask, or I am free from sickness from wearing a mask. Say that shit over and over and over again so you can counteract the effects of the fucking mask. Do that shit. That shit'll fucking help. That'll help large. And this guy just got denied because he had no fucking mask. Even though my wife said there's a bunch of people in there that have no fucking mask on right now. But it's just rebellion. Going in there with a mask on, taking the mask off, going on the couch with a mask on kind of thing. Which is probably what I'm going to fucking do if she ever forces me to go in a place, because she wants to walk around as a couple. But fuck that shit. Okay, anyways, I got to focus. What are the other things I need to talk about? I said... Never... What the fuck did I fucking talk about? I ended up on the whole naked fucking thing with the robes. Oh, and back to the mask. Fuck, man. See? What you're around is what you're going to be talking about. It's almost inevitable. But one of the things I remember I wanted to say is because I was getting to the symbolism of the mask, okay? And I know people say it's symbolic to shut the fuck up and tell people that, don't talk. And maybe that's right. But to me, knowing ritual magic, okay, when I was talking about creating that thought form, your will was you doing this operation, this ritual. This is why ritual magic is the shortcut to the affirmation route, because the affirmation route is saying something over and over and over again to the point where it makes a picture in your head. So it's creating that thought, that idea, the symbolism. It's a symbol in your head now, that picture. And then you eventually put emotion into it. By doing something so often over and over and over and over and over again, it just gets into your head. That's how this happens. But ritual magic is putting emotion into thought with the will, with your will, with the fucking fire, okay? It's air, fire, and water creates something that can be on this earthly realm. So when you're out in the stores, like I just said about the whole robe thing, the robe is a symbolism. Going naked is a symbolism. Using your athame is a symbolism. This is why if you incorporate candles, fire with wax and water, earth, when you have incense and you have some kind of water and you're adding your own emotion, but if you can incorporate all the elements within your ritual, it makes it that much more potent because you use a symbolism within symbolism. The more symbolism you can incorporate, the better. Just don't make it overcomplicated, okay? The simpler, the better, but the more you can incorporate and keep it simple is also better. But the mask is, like I said, the robe tells your mind, oh, okay, he's doing something different. You get in a relaxed trance state. This is why incense is so important. If you've never understood why, well, incense represents air, thought, spirit, and it puts you in the type of mindset that actually helps you relax and get into a trance-like state. It's like watching lights. It's like watching water. It's like watching fire. It relaxes you. Same thing with the fucking candles. You got a light on there stimulating you, keeping you awake, because most of our lights, especially LEDs, are made to keep you awake. They're not made to put you to sleep. That's why insomnia has activated. Not only that, it doesn't offer any protection. Go back to the older light bulbs if you're worried about activity and you want more protection. But more than that, use a fucking oil lamp, especially if you need to add colors to shit. And or you add or you're using candles, one or the other, okay? Those are the best ways to go. But the mask symbolizes that something has changed. And so there's your symbolism. Which is what, oh shit, I'm about to lose my lighter. Oh, don't do it. Alright, so symbolism I'm trying to get to. I was trying to just make a point, and I go off on everything like I do, but point was, everything during ritual magic is symbolic. The candles have any powers? No. I mean, using the elements is important because elemental magic, I mean, think what you want to think, and I don't want to tell anybody to believe anything, right? There's earth spirits, there's fire spirits, there's air spirits, there's water spirits, elements, the elementals. Yes, we're using all this in our magic technically because they are things, they are something, but at the same time, it's all just fucking symbolic in your mind to impress on your subconscious. Now, does that mean that there's no power in any of these things? That these things are all just mundane and just a way to tell your mind stuff? I don't know. I don't completely buy that. I think there's something more to it than that. And that might be why it activates something in your mind and why it's used to speak to your mind. So, I mean, in one sense, that's how I'm looking at it these days, anyways. Is, if you're fucking doing magic, all the extra stuff, everything on your altar is for your mind. And then when you're doing an initiation, a curriculum, well, after you pass the earth grade, you get the pentacle. After you pass the water grade, you get the cup. After you pass the fucking air grade, you get the fire wand. Fire dagger, or the air dagger, or the air wand, and then fire grade, whatever. And then depending on the other grades, depending on your system, it all basically varies. But depending on your system, that's how this shit kind of works. So all that's to say is, when you do ritual magic, you have symbolic uses of symbolism to get things into your mind better. What is using a sigil? A sigil is symbolically putting a statement in your mind using a sigil. So you wrote down something, a statement of intent. Subconscious mind records all. So it knows what you wrote down. Then you turn that sigil into a symbol. Okay? Once you turn that into a symbol, it still knows all the letters that was taken into account. You won't remember it consciously unless you do it every day for 7 days, which is how I used to do it, by the way. I used to do a sigil for 7 days, and then I'd activate it on the 7th day, and I'd have all these different sigils, and the rest of them I'd leave around the house, and it works. But, depending on how your memory works, you might remember what the sigil means later on because you did it so often. Because for me, I can hear a song once or twice and I'll know almost all the lyrics. Like I just proved that to my wife today. She put on her music for once in the car, which, you know, I normally always put on mine. But she was putting on different songs that I kind of like, and not country. Not that there's anything wrong with country, it's just not my taste. But, and then I knew most of the songs. She's like, how do you do that? I don't know, pick a random song, babe. She picked one, she thought I went, no. And then I sang the chorus. I sang the first verse. The second verse I had trouble. And the last verse, like, hook, not hook, that's chorus. But bridge, whatever it is, it's like something as not as repetitive as the chorus, but close, thereabouts. So anyways, and I knew that. So I knew the fucking 3/4 to 2/3 of the song. And I've heard that twice, maybe 3 times, that I know of. But my subconscious mind has always been good at recording songs, and I'm very good and talented at getting that info back. And maybe it's because when I'm listening to music, I'm always doing something else. Do you ever think about that? When you're watching a movie and you can remember other movies and movie lines and shit like that, well, what are you doing? Well, your movie's a little different because you're sitting down to watch a movie. But if you have a movie on while you're fucking, or a movie on while you're sleeping, or, you know the movie by heart and you only seen it once or twice, well, that's why. You've got this connection to your subconscious mind when it comes to stuff that you've implanted there yourself on purpose that you can access. That's what I can do, and that's the only explanation for it. It's not like I've always been good at memorizing, and my mom did a lot of training with me to memorize stuff at school, but as a kid. So I got good at memorizing, and maybe that's where it comes into play. So my mom did all this exercise work with me, doing my timetables real fast, doing my additions when I was even younger, mostly timetables and multiplication and division mostly, and she would get that in my subconscious mind through repetition, over and over again doing it. And it's like a muscle. When you work out a muscle, it gets bigger, it gets stronger, it gets better. So that's what happened. And now, because of all those tests that I aced because of my mom, well, I didn't just do that shit. I wasn't thinking about multiplication. I mean, I was before the test, but the point is, the ones I had to really think about, I can use my mind, I can draw on. I told you guys before, I have like not necessarily a photographic memory, but I can go back in my head if I know the day, if there's a song playing, if there's a movie, if there's something I need to know, I can go back to the day when it happens, and if I remember situational information about that day, when something happened more or less there, and then I can go right back to see, remember babe, this is what you said, and then I said this, and then that's when you said this, because she's denying she said something, or I didn't say it like that, it's not what I said. I'm like, oh yeah, remember how it happened? Last Wednesday, we were talking about this, and then I brought up the fact that Austin did this, and then you said, no, and then she's like, oh, and she fucking hates it. Everybody does, and then sometimes she'll just straight up lie and say, no, that's not true, you can't remember all that. Well, yeah, I fucking can, and I do, and I just did. And I don't know, maybe it's part of my mom, maybe gave me practice that part of her brain as a kid. So as I grew up, when I stopped using it for multiplication, well, when my subconscious mind is really active, because I'm driving right now, this is why I like driving and speaking, because I'm actually doing something with my conscious mind. My conscious mind is driving, or my subconscious, who knows. And then I'm trying to use my conscious mind to talk, but normally what's going to happen is the more important thing is going to get the conscious mind, because the things that need to focus in, the subconscious is going to do the other one. So depending on which one I put importance in my videos of this, anyways, it's more closer to the surface. But the same thing goes for when I'm in the car listening to music. Every song that plays, even if you turn it way down, as long as there's a volume there, you can record that, and everybody can draw on that. They just got to figure out what they need to do to get at those memories, to get at that information. And when you start doing this shit, well, it's way more wide open. I've never been as good as I am right now at pulling information out of my ass and knowing songs and remembering fucking fights and things my wife said than I have ever been in the last 2 years, let's say. Not the whole 4 fucking years, because first year was just crap, me trying to figure out what to do, but that's necessary. You got to go through all the wrong steps to get to the right steps. And in the first year, I did fucking neophytes a few times. I did fucking earth grade a few times because I wasn't positive and shit like that. So, anyways, all this is to say that the symbolism that you do, you're going out shopping, okay? Your mind's wide open. You're walking around. You're shopping. You're consciously shopping, but your subconscious is there. Like, why the fuck does he have a mask on? He's never worn a mask to go shopping before in his life. And he's not shopping as much anymore. Not going out to the stores anymore. He's complaining about wearing this fucking mask all the time. Something's changed. It's symbolic. It's telling your body that something's changed. When you go in front of your altar, every altar is, maybe it's in your bedroom, maybe you have your own fucking temple room. You take off all your clothes, you put on that white fucking robe, it's like, whoa, what the fuck's he doing? And then you light the incense and the candle and you start getting in that relaxed state. It's like, ooh, okay, he's trying to talk to us. We know what's up. Well, you know, you're starting that process off when you go into the store. It's like, I'm not going to the store anymore. That's different. He's putting a mask on. That's different. He's looking at people weirdly and thinking things. That's different. What the fuck is going on here? He's having trouble breathing. Oh, getting more carbon dioxide levels. Oh, we are fucking sick. COVID's real shit. You know, fucking stupid bullshit. But anyways, be careful when you're doing that crap. I didn't even touch on what I wanted to talk about yet, and I'm already like 40 minutes deep, so I'm going to try to get right to the sigil magic right away, and how this goes with that, how what I was talking about yesterday, the mind, pain or pleasure, to put a sigil in, why that's so important, and why it works. And yeah, I'll try to stay on that topic and nothing else, and if not, then you'll get everything I just did and nothing you can fucking do about it but watch it and be like, what the fuck? Well, some of that was useful, the rest of it was just shit, and he never even got what he was gonna say. Man, he really does have ADHD. I don't fucking lie to you. I just sometimes don't put out the stuff I'm supposed to put out. Alright, so what haven't I said about sigil magic that I didn't already say? Well, first of all, let's just go back through everything that I know about sigil magic. Grant Morrison was the first time, no, that's not true, but when I watched Grant Morrison on stage talking about his alien abduction and how magic works and how the chaos magic magicians really inspired him, and I found out he was the guy who wrote The Invisibles, and he's knee deep in DC comic shit and a lot of different comic shit lately, and he's the man that well, he does a lot of shit basically, so he's deep in the comic shit. And I just wanted to manifest something bad back then. And he was one of the first things I saw that was like, man, why would this rich fuck go on stage, risk his reputation if, this shit wasn't really real and he didn't really want to change things? Because at that point, the whole alien thing was a possibility in my mind, but I was very leery about it, because just like the whole Anunnaki were just slaves fucking digging for gold shit, it was one of those things that just, man, it's not right. It doesn't seem accurate. It doesn't seem plausible. It seems like bullshit, So we started talking about his alien abduction, but now I know whatever form you take, if you got programming in your mind that aliens are possible and most likely the angels are aliens and higher beings and life forms are just aliens, and that's what they are, they're different frequency beings, then that's the form he's going to come to you in. Just like someone who's a Christian, if they do have a religious experience, well, they're going to see God and Jesus and all that. If someone is an atheist, well, then who knows what they're going to see? Maybe just energy, maybe atoms, maybe fucking source, maybe, who knows? If it's a pagan and witchcraft, well, it might be all earth spirits, fire spirits, water spirits, all elemental, earth, pagan, variations of it. If it's someone who's in ceremonial magic who uses demons and angels, well, then you might see them, talk to them, they're going to get in every shape or form. But at that time I didn't really know, so I liked what he said about certain things and other things I didn't like. But I whenever someone talks about something, whether the information seems real or fake to me, regardless of that, I always get an overall feeling about the person. And the person, when Grant Morrison talks, he's not bullshitting you, he's not lying to you. But there's other people, like, no offense to this guy or anything, but Corey Good, I think is his name. And I like his stuff. He's funny. I like him. He's fucking funny. I like watching stuff. But when he talks, it's just like, no, it's all bullshit. Even David Icke. Now, David Icke, sometimes I get mixed feelings about him. Sometimes he's like, okay, that's right, that's accurate. That's not so accurate. The man himself, more now than ever, than before, but his later stuff and his earlier stuff, to me, was his best, because that's whenever I get he's being authentic, he's being real. But the middle stuff seemed like a lot of just trying to sell out things to get money, and not him selling out necessarily, he's just repeating the same information. Maybe that's what it was. Then really just changing details and really putting fucking, I don't know. I didn't watch a lot of David Icke because I was told when I started Frater stuff to stay away from the conspiracy, doom and gloom stuff. So I didn't watch a lot of him. I did in the beginning. But there are certain people, it's just like, okay, that's bullshit, that's bullshit. And that's one of the reasons when I wanted to start creating content, that's what I was going to do. Because the type of empath, if that's what you want to call it, which I don't like using that term, but the type of empath that I am is one that can tell people's authenticity, if they're real or fake, okay? And if they're trying to be honest or not, or maybe they're telling you the honest to God information that they believe. So, and another one, now I found he had good information because a lot of the information he said, I heard from people that were being authentic. But he wasn't always being authentic. But he was off and on. And it was fucking Texas redneck that got in trouble for having porn on his screen when he was doing a truth thing. Conspiracy guy. He's on InfoWars now. Fucking can't remember his fucking name. Even Frater Xavier picks on him, fuck. But anyways, that fucking guy, whenever he's on InfoWars now, he's out like a fucking robot. I'm not teasing him, man. He's been through a lot. But he was off and on authentic, and now he's just, to me, it's like, no. So far from authentic, it's unbelievable. It's all about money right now, and fucking, you know, it doesn't matter. And I can't tell the difference for this part. Like, I don't get a reading on this, but either he's trying to get people to believe him so bad that he's going to lie about it, even though he started off trying to be truthful and trying to be honest, or he's always been a fucking shill. He's always been, or was approached recently to be a fucking shill and a fucking, you know, someone who's infiltrating spirituality and truth movements to make it bullshit. But he's been recently infiltrated and he's changed up his tone. It's one or the other, but I wouldn't watch that show InfoWars if someone fucking paid me to. But anyways, and like I said, these people could be thinking they're doing you a service by bringing you all this conspiracy stuff. But if they have either a point A or a point B, or it's either this side or this side, or it's either A or B, and there's no other alphabet, or it's either light or dark, or it's either good or bad, if that's their outcome, then you shouldn't be watching that. If you watch conspiracy stuff and they give you multiple views and multiple options, and they don't try to force their opinion on you, they're trying to sell you the simple fact that you've been lied to, and you come up with your own decision, and here's the information they found, then that's okay. But if they're trying to fucking get you to believe what they want to believe, and they're only giving you two options, and they give you all the proof that one option can't be right, therefore by default their shit's right, well, that's just polarity. They're polarizing you for a side, they're making you choose a side, and therefore you shouldn't choose them, period. And that's one of the things I had the biggest problem with Thunder Wizard, when he says stuff like, you either gotta pick the Bible or don't. You either believe they did this or don't. It's like, no, that's not A or B. You're telling me that Christianity's been trying to get you to be fucking Christian, and the reptilians are trying to get you to be fucking a reptilian fucking brain dead fucking human being, and it's like, that's not the case, first of all, and second of all, it's like you're making me pick either A or B when there's option. And you know, even more than that, you know, whenever you try to force someone to pick either fucking side, it's just like, well, once again, that's what we know the media controls both sides of the fucking story, and they don't care which side you're on. As long as you pick a side, you fight against the opposite side. So anybody trying to get you to do that is wrong. You know, if you're a left-hand or right-hand path, that's cool, whatever. But there's sometimes in your life where you're going to have to switch the opposite polarity to get by. You know, just like I said yesterday, sometimes when you're too fucking happy, you can make some stupid decisions. Just like when you're too fucking pissed off, you might not make any decision at all, when you should make a decision, you know? And anybody focusing on whatever the reason is, like, oh, we have a whole generation of people, and I'm not picking on Thunder Wizard, because I don't think he's a bad guy. But you know, these are the questionable things why I can't watch him anymore. And I really enjoyed watching him, and I see his videos pop up and I want to, but it's like, no, let it be. Wait, you're not depolarized enough yet to watch something like that and be okay. So just let it be for now. Go back to it later. It's in his archives. Like, I was watching all his old stuff like he was recommending, and it's fucking, a lot of it's good information. So I mean, most of it is. I'm not a shaman per se, but anybody who gives out sound information about magical systems is useful to anybody practicing any magical system, because as long as what they're doing is within the laws of this realm, then it's going to work, and you can change the correspondence to whatever they're saying. So for a shaman, for instance, his type of divination is tarot, and his type of fucking astrology is Vedic. So that's important to me. It's one of the reasons I looked at Vedic astrology. And, you know, so anyways, I'm not trying to diss Thunder Wizard, but those are if I was him, and this is what I do for myself, to try to figure out where I'm polarized against, to figure out where I self-limiting beliefs, where I have programming and belief systems inputted in me that I need to change. Well, when I have areas like that where I have to pick one side and the opposite side enrages me and pisses me off, that's where I'm polarized. That's where I have programming that creates that polarity. That's where I have belief systems that create the polarity, that create the programming. It's been reinforced over and over and over, and that's what you have to rid yourself from. Now, it doesn't matter if you believe they went to the moon or not. You know, you should have an opinion of it with some sound knowledge behind it, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to stop you from performing magic. It's not going to stop you from believing in yourself as a god or not, whether they went to the moon or not. If they went to the moon, great. We have the capability to do almost anything because that's pretty phenomenal. So yeah, maybe we are like gods. And if we didn't go to the moon, it makes a lot of shit even more important. It makes us more significant and less insignificant, that the universe is so big, and you know, it's 90-some% fucking black matter. So either way, you can take the perspective that we're a fucking amazing fucking godlike creature. Now I take the perspective that shit don't matter. All this shit is a fucking, it's the Hindu version, like I was talking about, the way Alan Watts puts it. And I've studied Hinduism a bit, and I know what he's talking about a little bit. I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm not Hindu and I don't practice, but they believe that the persona, which is the Greek word for mask, okay, it's where it comes from. Persona, the person, we adopted that for person. So anybody telling you how to be a person, how to be a real person, is telling you how to be a real fake, how to be a real mask. You know, a mask is, you know, the actors. This is another Alan Watts thing. He says whenever the actors are done the play, what do? Well, the bad guy and the good guy are probably the last ones to get out there because they put the performance on. Let's say it's a good versus evil fucking kind of play. Well, they both grab each other's hands, lift it up in the air, and bow together and smile at each other and accept the gift if they gave a gift. And people clap just as hard for the villain for doing such a good job for making you believe he was a villain as they do for the fucking hero who made you believe he was a hero fighting the villain. But they're both fucking actors. And how I interpret it, and much thanks to Mr. Alan Watts, God rest his soul, God is all rest his soul, he's part of us, man. And seriously, I used to think Aleister Crowley was a guy, like if I was going to say in a past life I was somebody, you know, people go for kings and queens and stars, you know, I was always like, I want to be Aleister Crowley or something like that, you know, some dark magician that would scare people and use that energy. But in all honesty, I think I'd rather be Alan Watts. I know he's not as famous or big or flashy or whatever, but guy's fucking awesome. The way he put shit together on stage, the way he fucking talked, and especially in his day and age. Like, he died in 73 or 75, right? Like, right around the time my mom was born. My dad was born. No, my parents were born in 68 and 69, I think. Or 67, 68, something like that. My dad's favorite car is 57 Chevy, so I'm way off. But no, that's important. I always say I think it's 60 because my dad likes to say 50, but it's a 57 Chevy, so I think it's 58 and 59. And they were born on 58 and 57. But anyway, so point is, Alan Watts, thank you for helping me understand that. But God can do everything and anything, right? If there's a God, if you believe in the all, and it's this spirit that we don't know and we can't comprehend because we have the law of gender here. So what happens is he's bored up there. So what does he do? Well, he comes down and experiences life. So, you know, he makes planets, makes this, makes that, makes gods, makes angels, makes all these things, and he's still bored. So what does he do? He makes people and gives them the option between good and evil, and neither one of them are good or bad, but it's just a big play, a big fucking show. But now, Mr. Alan Watts is a lot better than that, and if you study the Hinduism, even Buddhism, they'll explain it a hell of a lot better than I just did. But, you know, he, in that episode, he relates it to, well, can a Christian be a Hindu? No. But can a Hindu be a Christian? And I think I'm getting this wrong, so I'm not going to keep going with that. But he makes really good points in the whole entire thing. Because Christian can't necessarily take on this view, because if you believe the bad guy is your enemy, Satan, all this, there's all this evil. If you believe everybody's just a fucking actor playing a part, and to have good you need evil. Otherwise, if you don't have one, you can't have the other. That's how these people think, but they don't think it like that. Okay, so Christians believe there's heaven and hell. And they believe we have free will. But at the same time, if you take your free will and use it for evil, you're going to hell. So that doesn't sound like a God. To me, that sounds like someone trying to make sure you do good and you don't go rob and take over the government and take people's power from them. But anyways, that's a matter of opinion. But nonetheless, this is where this plays in, and I was trying to get to this point when I was talking about the parents and the different generations. How when you hit somebody, you can get them to learn just as fast, get them to learn faster than just telling them you need to work your whole life. You need to go to school. You need to be a hard worker and not ask questions and go to church. Well, what happens? Well, when my dad and mom were kids, and then their parents were kids, now they would quit school to help on the farm to help their family, right? As to how my grandpa was, not my dad. My dad quit school and all that too, but he ended up doing pretty well for himself and all that. And a lot of these people did. But now it's been institutionalized that you need to go to school, go to college, and that's the only way you're gonna get a good job, which is still bullshit, because you can get a great job without doing any of those things. You can make a ton of money without doing any of those things. But nonetheless, I tell my kids that same fucking bullshit, even though I don't even fucking believe it. But not that I don't believe it. I know you're better off if you have degrees and all that, but in the same sense, if it's not what you're meant to do, you're not going to do it. So you pick something when you're a kid, and then when you become older and you actually try those things, you end up not fucking liking what you're doing. Well, then you're going to change your fucking job. So it's really pointless in a sense. But anyways, because who's to say whenever you're 15 with the things you like are going to be, or 16 or 17 or 18, it's going to be what you go on for the rest of your life. But at least you have some experience, right? But anyways, so their day and age, their parents would hit them, school teachers would hit them back when my parents were kids, and then their parents were kids, and prior generations before that. So they were taught and told, and they listened, and they did what they said. Most people that age retired and are being paid right now, and they are paying a lot of money in retiring, being that's what my wife does for a living. Now, in our day and age, we got a lot of people on the fucking system, a lot of kids, a lot of people my age, a couple generations older, a couple generations younger. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people on welfare and disability. These people haven't worked their entire life to pay into these accounts that Canada or the US or wherever, but in Canada where I am, people aren't paying taxes. They're getting money to stay at home for fucking free. So what happens is, well, there's no money in those accounts to pay everybody. There's no surplus. If there's no fucking surplus to pay people, if there's not enough money in those accounts, what do you need to do? Well, you need to put a lot of money in circulation so that it all comes back to the government in one way, shape, or form. Because you can say, well, not all of it goes to government. Some goes to drug dealers and other businesses and all that, yeah. But every legitimate business, think about it. There's a lot of money goes back to the government in fines and all these other places. But no matter what, if you buy something at the store, the government gets a piece, 15 or 13%, whatever the fucking rate is now for taxes in Canada. It used to be 15, it went down to 13, it was at 14. I think it's back at 15 now. And that might even go up after all this is done. For all the money they gave out, they might put taxes at 16 or 17% to help pay back the CERP. Something simple as that. People go, yeah, fuck it, we don't have to pay back the money, that's fine. But all the money they gave us, gave everybody to spend, all right? And say they don't ask to pay it back. Maybe they ask the people maybe some people have to pay it back, like the ones who did fraud. Well, if only the fraud people have to pay it back, it's a lot of money they're out, right? But that's how you create money. When you go to the fucking mortgage, if you go to a bank to get a mortgage, they create the money on the spot. So they give you, quote unquote, the money, which is, they put it in an account, and then you go give it to somebody else, which is going from one bank to another fucking bank. And then the bank makes that same amount of money and puts it in the account, because technically that's where the money has to be. So they say it's like two amounts, but it's really not, because it goes to the one bank, then it goes to the other bank. So the one bank gets it, and your bank gets it. That's how it's like two amounts, but really, so they just, anyways, the point I was trying to get at was the money all goes back to the government because there's taxes on everything. Under the table, it doesn't matter. Off your paycheck, doesn't matter. It all goes to the government. Every time you get paid, the government gets a cut, and then you take the rest of your pay to a store, and they get another cut of that. Right? And then that store has to pay taxes on that money, and they get a cut. You know what I mean? They always get a cut, so it all goes back to them. So if you have too many people in the system and you can't fucking afford it, and if this is happening all over, let's say in the United States, there's a lot of people, a lot of veterans, they're retiring, a lot of people on disability and welfare, and then a lot of people retiring that they have to pay back their CPP and shit like that. Well, that's a lot of money to pay, and if you don't have it to pay, well, what do? Well, you make a fucking crisis. Big crisis. Make a big deal out of it. Make people wear masks because people aren't believing it. Make people get really sick. Make them all have to stay home. Now you have enough money to pay everybody off. Back to the contract thing. I wanted to say this earlier and I forgot. I was saying that the doctors have contracts and they have to tell you to take certain pills because they're in a contract to promote that pill, and it'd be a breach of contract if they promote either a generic brand of the same pill or any other pill, or tell people not to take that pill. Right? They can either say nothing or they have to promote the pill. It's one or the other, basically. So, and this is happening with the mask and the gloves as well. People don't want to believe it, but fuck, stupid if you don't. Anyway, so at the beginning of this, Bitcoin and all, before all this happened, Bitcoin and all these other cryptocurrencies were making a run for it, and people were starting to say stuff like, oh yeah, we're gonna have no more money, the money system's gonna go down, blah 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 blah. And even Frederick Xavier, after he made his comment saying, you know, to everybody stay inside so we can save you. No, I need to go outside to get a haircut. This and that. And it was pretty funny, actually, though. I laughed. I thought it was funny. But, you know, the point he was making was, you know, people always do the opposite of what they're told, or they want to, and they feel they need to. It's either one play or the next. Either you're going to do what you're told, or you're not going to do what you're told. Or you're like me, and you're somewhere in the middle. I only do what I'm told when it's for my best interest. If you're doing something, you're telling me to do something, it's not for my best interest, I'm not going to fucking do it. And I know this restricts my oxygen. I know this makes me take in more carbon dioxide. I know that. I know that if I don't take in enough germs, because I have to be inside and I have to have a mask on everywhere, that my immune system is going to get weaker and weaker and weaker. And then when the winter comes and I'm really isolated inside and, you know, I go out less because it's winter and it's cold here, and that's why people get more sick more time in the winter. Well, if I'm wearing this mask all summer long when I'm supposed to be outside eating fucking dirt and getting shit in me so I don't get sick, well, everybody's gonna get twice as sick, and you're gonna kill off the population. You're gonna kill off all those motherfuckers that are costing you money instead of paying money. Those people that stay in all the time because they're on welfare and disability, when they go out for the check, well, they're going to get sicker faster. People that work are more likely to take in dirt under their nails and shit like that. So those people are going to be the first to die. Those are the people watching the conspiracy stuff too, though, a lot of the times. So they might have their minds open a little bit more. Who knows? Point is, though, there is an economic part to this. But to talk about the contract thing with the doctors, illustrate my point, Steven Seagal before this was making headlines because he was being sued by either Bitcoin or one of the other ones because he was under contract to promote something. Sorry, he this is where that photographic memory comes in. I'm trying to remember the fucking thing my wife showed me. So something to the effect, paraphrasing because I don't remember, and I'm trying to, but he didn't state that he was paid by either Bitcoin or whatever cryptocurrency. He was on his social media promoting it, and he didn't make it clear that this was an advertisement, meaning he's being paid by Bitcoin. So the law says if you're being paid by somebody, you have to say that. You have to tell people, yes, I am getting paid by Bitcoin, but you need to try Bitcoin. It's awesome. You know, and if you don't say it, it has to be somewhere posted. That's why on commercials where they use celebrities, it posts at the bottom, Michael Jordan, I endorse this. Or whenever you see your political people say at the end of the video, this person does this, this person does this political person is a fucking idiot. He'll take all your money and not give you anything he promises. And you'll see the other guy, the opposite guy, trying to win, saying, I promote or I endorse this campaign. So that's what I was trying to get at. But anyways, I was just trying to say that's what the doctors do. They have to promote their thing, and they should legally, by law, have to tell you that they are being paid by these companies. But this is how we know this. This is why we know this, because they're being paid by these companies. That's why they're giving that out. Well, that's why we're wearing these masks, because most doctors are being paid to tell that. And not all of them are, though, because they can refuse. But if they're in contract with a company, let's say the mask company is one of their main pill companies. Well, if you don't promote our masks, we're gonna break your contract, and you're not gonna get all the kickbacks you're getting back from the fucking pill sales. Oh, okay, fine. I'll fucking promote your stupid mask and kill the population. Maybe it's better off if we kill these stupid people that don't fucking do their own research anyways. And sometimes I kind of think that too. And I know how mean that is. And I don't want anybody to die, but I saw fucking today a dope fiend behind a fucking dumpster at my clinic where she was sleeping clearly, crying her fucking eyes out. You know how hard that is for somebody like me who picks up energy? I was like fucking 4 cars away from her, and I could feel her fucking pain. My eyes were tearing up. I don't even know why she was crying, but I know she was in pain, and I can assume pretty fucking damn good. You're behind a dope clinic and you're fucking crying. Well, if it's not because your life is shit and you don't have fucking dope and you need dope to fucking live and feel good, and you don't see your fucking kids and all this other shit, well, then you're probably crying for nothing, because you probably got way bigger problems you should be crying over. But anyways, there's people like that can't get their life back, and they're just taking drugs every day to try to forget the stupid shit they do, and they pray that they fucking die. And the only reason they don't die is because dying is too fucking easy. They made some mistakes and they need to make it up, and they can play a fucking victim and cry all day long and get people like me sympathy, and then we can go and try to fucking save them and help them, and then they just end up fucking up again anyways. And fucking trust me, I've been there. I've been the one who's done that, and I've been the one on the other end of the deal trying to help someone who can't help themselves. So I know both angles. This is why a long time ago I said, if anybody is struggling with addiction or has a family member, a child, a sister, brother, a lover that is struggling with this, and you want to understand why they do what they do, well, I can shed some light on it for you, because I've been on both ends. I've been the one helping, I've been the one using, I've been the one fucking people over, because it's not necessarily that I don't have a soul, but certain drugs kind of make you like you don't have a fucking soul. But anyways, so this Bitcoin and all this shit was coming into effect to the point where the monetary system was being squeezed, and then boom, COVID, and then boom, COVID relief fund, and now we got a ton of money in circulation. Today is the second last payment in my country, in my hometown, in my fucking province, wherever. I don't know if it's province-wide, if it's different days, but here in Ontario, Cornwall, Ontario, Canada, it was the day they got second last payment as of right now. Initially it was only 4 payments, and then they extended it 2 more months. So we're into the first month extension right now, and the stores are packed. Everybody's out wearing a mask. It's like, we don't care if we have to wear a mask if you give us money. It's like, no, fuck no. I had to get tested, so I'm entitled to money if I want the money. I haven't decided if I'm going to take it yet or not, but if anything, I should put it in an RSP and get the fucking interest off of it. And when they ask for the money back, just give it back to them. And if they don't ask for the money back, well then, hey, I got a fucking interest, I got fucking RSPs, and I'm fucking good, bud. Thank you. You're not getting my money back, not right away. But anyways, yeah, it's packed out here. And I care more about my health than I do about shopping, about getting stuff that doesn't fulfill your needs anyways. And, everybody working on spirituality, and all of a sudden, they get this money shot in their face. And it might be part of most people's fucking, maybe there's a lot of people out there trying to use law of attraction to manifest money. And then this happens. It's like, holy fuck, make all these fuckers think the magic works, that their little stupid ways of doing magic without the real way actually worked. And then they'll think it works all the time, and then we stop doing the COVID money, their shit won't work, and they've already quit their job and all this and that, and then haha, suckers. There's so many ways this could be played out. I don't know. I can't tell you for sure. What I can tell you is I think there's a lot to do with Bitcoin. I think some of it has to do with oil. I think a lot of it has to do with creating currency to cover fucking all the people that are good. Because someone who's on welfare gets welfare when they retire. It's basically the minimum retirement. The people that are on welfare the whole life, on disability their whole life, get a fucking a retirement. It's not CPP, it's not Canadian pension plan, but they get a very bare minimum. My wife tells me this. I know this. I know it. My wife, that's what she does for a living. She talks to the people who've retired. They get something. So how do you give people money who've never earned you money? Like, like I said before, the government makes money hand over fist. Without a doubt, everything goes back to them. From the 15% that you pay in the stores to the percentage that comes off your account, your check. It's all your money. You get paid, right? And let's assume you're putting $100 to $200 every let's say $200 every 2 weeks out of your check. Okay? My wife got paid today. She got $2,000. That's my wife's paycheck. A little bit of overtime on there. Normally it's about $1,700, $1,800, something like that for 2 weeks. But it was $2,000 because she did overtime these last 2 Saturdays on this pay period. 4 hours a Saturday. That's when she gets $2,000. So she gets paid well. That's a pretty good pay, I think, anyways. If you make more than that, well, kudos to you. And if you're not doing something illegal, then really kudos to you. But I'm not against people doing illegal shit. I get it. You got to do this day and age. But so she got $2,000. Let's say we put $200 away in the bank. 2 weeks. $1,800 left. That's going to be gone. It's going to be gone before the 2 weeks is up. That's for sure. It always is. And you're going to say, how the fuck? 4 kids, man. What do you think? Food, groceries today alone was $400 fucking already. Boom, Gandhi. You know, $450 actually. Gas in the car was another $50, so we're already at $500 within the first day. So we're $700 within the first day. That's $1,100 left. So you do the math. It ain't gonna fucking last very fucking long. But, and that means it's all gone except for the $200 I saved, and the government got a piece of it everywhere. You know what I mean? So this is how they're replenishing the accounts and how they're going to have money for everybody that retires. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse as we go. So if a few people die in the process, well, it's not a big deal. Because it's less people they have to cover, more money for them. So once again, I don't necessarily think that they're doing it to hurt us, but I think it's a byproduct that they don't care if it happens. Anyways, I think that's enough for today. Yeah, probably going to finish up since I keep getting on to COVID shit and fucking mask shit and all that shit. But the money aspect of the COVID thing is probably the biggest, because money does make the world go around. Understand that there's a big possibility that, you know, they obviously know the things I know. Like, if I am just some fucking guy who works a job and makes YouTube videos and podcasts, can find out what this is doing, can find out and trace it, the doctors that have contracts with it. I mean, the health unit guy here in Cornwall, or the health unit guy who's making all the rules, he's got a contract with a fucking mask company. It wasn't even hard to fucking find. He's got many contracts. Most doctors do. That's how they make money. They get money from the pills that they prescribe to people. It's like anything else. It's just fucking making money, man. It is what it is. Like, you can diss it all you want and knock it and say it's wrong all you want, but I mean, that's how people get by. A doctor doesn't get a lunch or a regular break like we do when we're working. They get paid very well, but they're on these big, long fucking shifts. They get a couple days off a week, probably, maybe sometimes one. They work their ass off so that when they retire, they got a fuckload of money so they can retire early because they put in a lot of time. They sacrifice it now to get it better later. But, you know, for them to not know what they're doing, no, they know what they're doing. That's why most of the time you'll see doctors that are going against this. A lot of them are psychologists. A lot of them are other versions of either doctorates or PhDs that are going against this, because the ones that are actually practicing like in a hospital or as a family practice or whatever are under those contracts with the pills and the mask and glove companies. You know, it's you know, I think it was Sherlock Holmes #2, where his adversary, the guy he's against, is just as smart as him. And the one with Robert Downey Jr. And the guy can slow things down in his head too, which was so sick. I love that movie, man. I resonated with that so bad because of the way my memory works. I love watching movies about smart guys that can actually fight, not just nerds that get their ass kicked or have to get superpowers. No, somebody who's using their intelligence in good ways. But it also shows that he was so smart, right? But he was a junkie. He liked getting high. He liked trying different drugs all the time, getting drunk, doing that. But nonetheless, you know, it's because he had to escape because his mind's always going. And I told my wife, like, babe, if there was any way to show you in a movie how it feels sometimes to be like me and probably Owen, your boy with ADHD, it's like this, how the voices are always going in your head, how you can't stop always overthinking things, which sometimes when there's a problem, it's great. But when Sherlock Holmes didn't have a problem, when he lost his one friend he can get along with because everybody else he pisses off or says stuff or doesn't know how to take him, right? He was self-destructing, basically. He was going crazy. He had these potions going where the dog died, come back alive. He had this adrenaline thing, and fucking, you know what I mean? Well, I fucking know exactly that. I'm not at that level. I'm not saying I'm the smartest Sherlock Holmes or the character or whatever. What I'm saying is I know that. And sometimes whenever, especially on this path, when you're supposed to be in solitude, when you're supposed to be by yourself, when you're supposed to stop watching TV, when you start realizing how important spirituality is, and you can't relate to your own wife or kids or other family members, it's hard. And sometimes the easiest thing to do is to take a fucking Ritalin or a fucking speed pill, because for someone who's got ADHD or ADD, it slows down your mind. It shuts up the voices in your fucking head, giving you all the great information, making you overthink everything, and you just do things simply. And I'm not trying to say I'm above anybody or better than everybody. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that's how I feel and I work sometimes. But anyways, that's why I'm able to take little concepts and expand them and find, different comparisons, metaphors. I always forget that word. That's what it's C. It's the word for basically like a simile, a metaphor. If you can find a way to explain something super complicated, and you use something the person knows about a lot or knows well, you use their experience, their field to explain something from a different field. You find it's not coming to me today. But anyways, I said it already a few times in here. But it's a lot of as above, so below, as within, so without. A lot of fucking compensation keeps coming up. It's not compensation. Correspondence. Find the right correspondences. That's why I can find correspondences and all this, because my brain is built for problems, for solving problems, for deep thinking. Not only that, your brain loves that. It doesn't matter who you are. Your brain loves doing that. It's why guys go after girls that are messes. Why girls try to fix guys as well. It's why people like fixer-uppers. It gives them something to do. It's why it's built into us to do that. To go around helping people, to try to fix other people's problems. But someone trying to fix everybody else's problems sometimes has problems as well that need to be fixed, and they put it off by fixing someone else's problems. You know what I mean? And then blame it on that person when they can't fix them completely, or they don't need them anymore, when they blame it on them for their life being in shit. But it's probably in shit before that. That's why self-transformation is so important. But anyways, I never really touched on the sigil thing all that much that I wanted to talk about, which was just basically how you can use positive or negative emotion to implement on your head. And what I was trying to go with the whole, my parents were in a time where the negative reinforcement, basically hitting a kid for doing something bad so they never did the bad thing again, was jammed into their head, I think, this way. And then that stopped being allowed, thank God, or thank the gods, or thankfully, rightfully so. But because of that, now we have a lot of kids that have issues. We have a lot of kids that have to be on medication because the parents can't control them. Whereas in the past, there was no ADHD and ADD at a certain point, and that's pretty fairly new. And if you look around the time where abusing your children, depending on where you look and what part of the world, but where child abuse has been banned, and you're not allowed to slap your kid on the ass anywhere, or children's aid and all this shit comes into play, it'd probably be around the same time as ADHD. It'd probably be a couple year gap there where, child abuse stops. 5 years later, ADHD is a thing, ADD is a thing, and medication, maybe even autism, things start spiking. There's something to look for too. I believe that those vaccines also may have something to do with it. And like I said, I can't even look at that shit anymore because it makes me too angry, pissed off, sad, and it's just too much. But I know there's probably a correlation there as well. But the point I was trying to get at was simply that it was magic they were using. It's just a shitty dark version of magic. If there ever was a dark magic, or baneful magic, because there is baneful magic, that would be it. It would be implementing stuff in other people's minds using violence, using aggression, using force like that. Hitting your kid, telling them not to do something ever again. If you do that too often and all that, kids, it's not going to be like the sigil you're putting in your mind using the Bic lighter on your hand. This is what he meant by that. Burn your hand while you're staring at the sigil. They'll get shot in there. or jack off and you look at the sigil, read it at the point of orgasm, and they get shot in there. And that's what this does. And now what I'm saying is it's not necessarily new. I don't know when it's happened, but with the way our mind works, you can have so much fear emotion that you're overcome. It's equivalent to your dad telling you not to steal his smokes again while he punches you in the face, and that creates the, oh, I better not do that again, gives you enough fear to not do it. Well, that's the equivalent of somebody watching this COVID shit too often, seeing all the death toll rising, seeing it close to their house, and freaking out, and that trigger can do that as well in their head. And every time they see that, it would trigger them, and they would back to neutral, you know? And then not remember what caused it. And then every time it happens, they're out public with somebody, they just go into a daze and not there. Anyways. But that's how you can put a sigil in your mind. Now, you can use that to your benefit or your detriment, but it works either way. And in this day and age, I grew up, I never got hit. Like I said, I got taps, and we're not hitting our kids now in this day and age. So, and now we have all these other problems. So it's just something to think about, something to look at. But that's how the sigil magic works. If you didn't understand how does sigil magic work, how does pain or pleasure put something in your mind, can you just stare at it for a while for it to work? You can. You definitely can. Putting sigils around the house, positive messages around your house, whatever, is definitely helpful. It gets in everybody's mind that way. But equally at the same time, give me a second, I gotta tell my wife to get salt. Think about it. When you think, I mean, that's how all magic works, right? Not just sigil magic. Because if you think about it, what are you doing in your ritual? Well, you're using, okay, so let's go to the sigil magic, okay? When you're doing sigil magic, you are sitting down, you have a thought, right? Your thought is your statement of intent, and you use your will to change that thought into a sigil. And then you're also willing it into your mind by actively grabbing it and jerking off until, or maybe, I don't know how girls do it, maybe finger while they rub their clit. Well, anyways, gotta keep this PG, guys. Corey, stop doing that shit, you fucking retard, ceremonial witchcraft piece of shit. But anyways, so that's part of the will. The process that they're using is part of the will, whether it's the jerk off method or it's the jerk off method or it's the burning your hand method. They're using the will to get that in their subconscious mind, man. Two girls in booty shorts and basically bras walking around out here like, holy fuck, they didn't have masks on. There would be too much covering. There's more fucking masks than there would be that are fucking covering their tits. My God. And I'm not saying that in a perverted way because they looked young. And like when I see that, it's like, I got two little girls, man. I would not let them out in public like that. But what you resist persists, so remember that. But anyways, so you're using the thoughts, you're using the will, various ways, and you're using emotion, because that action, that will, forces you to have that pleasure emotion. All right, that's why it's double whammy. Just like when you get hit in the face, that's the will causing you